Hi, all things clinical research community. My name is Dumakato Moshe. Welcome to All Things Clinical Research, your premier destination for in-depth mentoring and development, growing and learning. Actually, welcome to the first episode. We have a very remarkable guest in our midst, a hardworking, phenomenal woman. She's a wife, she's a mom, she's a PhD candidate in chemistry, and she's a centralized monitoring lead. Her name is Nina Marokwa. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Dima. Thank you so much
Nice
for
to
having me
have
on the
you.
show.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. We are so excited to have you here. Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait. I know we've been rescheduling over and over, and to have you here, it's so pleasant. I am very happy. Yes. So, I don't have much to start with, but I actually have two questions that I actually wanted to, like a fun fact, yeah, just to get into as an icebreaker.
A fun fact about me.
Yes. Tell me something that I don't know.
A fun fact about me is that I don't know how to bake, but I love baked goods.
Yes.
I love cooking, but I just don't know how to bake.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'd rather buy the baked goods.
Yes, you always do.
As I always do.
Yes,
I struggle.
Sure.
I honestly struggle to teach myself to bake.
Yeah.
So I just decided that that's just not who I am. Yes.
Yeah.
So because of the people around me, and when I mean about the people around me is that we are exposed to our lecturers. They are doctors, they are professors, and you know they would encourage you to go into academics,
right?
Because that's what all they know as well.
Exactly.
Because that's where all they've been. They've been always in academics. They studied, they were in academics, and they've never left the space. A lot of them, 99% of them, you get one or two that go but then come back to the academic space. So that's fine. So that's the idea I had, right? And then, okay, fast track, did my honors, did undergrad. I've been working, if I can say that, since my first year. Yeah. I started working as a cashier at a pharmacy, and that's where certain interest in chemistry also came about. Because I'd learn about the generics, the medicine. Oh, okay, what is a generic? Okay, this one is from Adcock Ingram, and then it's Panado, it's called this. But when you look at, it's the same thing. Yes. This one is just made by somebody else. You know, how did it come about that it was okay that another person makes the same thing that this person has also made? You know, so I became interested in that space. Wow. Because of that, it started there. Then went while working. I've been like in academics, teaching first years. I've done that while in undergrad, and also postgrad honors, did my honors, then started to do my masters. And then things didn't really go well. Not I can't say not that it didn't go well with regards to funding with my masters. And I'm like, okay, maybe I should look for a job. You know, that's where it started. Maybe I should look for a job. And because if funding issues didn't arise, I would have done my PhD. I would have finished my master's, done my PhD, still be at the university.
Probably lecturing.
You know, I would have definitely. But at the same time, the reality of looking at in the department to say there is a set limited amount of people. A lot of them are young. Yeah. So where and how am I going to fit in to be a lecturer? Wow. At what point will there be a position open? Because there's people before me that did their PhDs. So obviously they will, like it's a queue, you know, it's a queue. Right. Like it's basically, sorry to say, but somebody needs to die for you to get a job.
I agree.
Because the positions are filled. There's only a certain amount of capacity that, and your expertise are in a specific field. I can't go lecture biology.
Exactly.
Because my expertise are not in biology.
Exactly.
So it was that, but I still had hopes that, okay, I'll still be an academic somehow.
Yeah.
Then I looked for a job, or attempted to look for a job.
Yeah.
I spoke to somebody who was a sales rep.
Yes.
And I asked her, she started to be a sales rep, I think the first year of her master's.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I asked her, hey, where do you work? Like, what is this company that is you're working for? And then she said, I think it was Novo Nordisk. She was a sales rep for Novo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, no, if they're hiring, let me know. I think I want a job.
I want this.
Yeah, I think I want a job.
I think I want this.
I think, I want a job. Yeah, that because you just bought a car. Like, okay,
I mean, really.
It must be good, you know? So then a couple of months went by. One day she sends me a text, say, hey, are you still looking for a job? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still looking for jobs. Like, okay, no, Parexel is hiring project specialists.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, what does Parexel do?
Yeah. What is Parexel?
I know it's here on campus.
Yeah. You know,
they work with clinical trials.
You know?
Like people go there and become subjects to trials and they get paid. What do you mean? What is this?
So what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do? Yeah. You know, those are the questions that I had. Yeah. I'm like, okay, no, fine. It's fine. Yeah. Let me do it. Yeah. Read the job description, like, okay, I could comprehend. It's like, it's project management. I've never done it, you know. I've never project managed anything. But anyway, got the job. Yeah. Became a project specialist. Yeah. And now I'm yet again being redirected. Yeah. You know? Right. I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, there's this thing here. Yes. There's this industry. Guys, so why didn't nobody say anything? What this is, you know? And that's how I went into the space.
The industry.
And from understanding the job description, the job responsibilities, and where it lies in the map of clinical trials, that's when you can say, oh, okay, I think I want to go there. Yeah. I think I want to do this, you know, because it's so big. Yeah. There's so much possibilities. So it's also very difficult for you to say, I want to stay in project management. Yeah. You know? Wow. So that's how I came to know about the pharmaceutical because nobody said anything.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't
it
amazing?
For us talking about industry was going to work at Cecil and at Mintech in the lab.
And the thing is, what's even funny is that everybody that studied BSc, everybody's like, oh, you also studied BSc.
There's so many of us.
You are part of the statistics that's going to stay at home.
Yeah, there's so many of us.
And that's a lie. That's a lie. I think people must stop just telling people that if you studied BSc, there's no job for you.
It's because they are misinformed.
That's the thing, you know, and that's why we're here. You know, that's why we want them to be aware, you know, of clinical research, because this is a very big industry.
Yes.
And most people that knew it's people from the overseas, because, you know, they were more informed than us. And now that we are getting into the space, people from South Africa, they're also getting into there's many of us now in the industry. You understand?
In the industry. Yes. Occupying taking up space.
You get me.
There is. It's very incredible.
And I love this for us.
Yes,
you know, exactly.
Very incredible.
I feel it's so amazing. Hey, wow. And I think this will actually raise an awareness.
Yes.
To all the upcoming clinical researchers that just because you studied BSc, you don't have to stay at home.
Yes.
You know, equip yourself.
It's not even upcoming clinical researchers, because there is a student there in the university studying BSc that doesn't know.
You understand?
So it's just a matter of the ones that are studying and don't know what to do with it. Here's your possibilities. Here's your opportunities and your options. This is an option.
Yeah. You know,
some people don't know that it's an option.
No, they don't. They don't. They see the scarcity. They don't see anything, you know, like abundance.
Yes. Or they graduate from the undergrad, they look for a job. They are overwhelmed by what the job description is.
Yes, exactly.
It talks about a clinical research associate. Like, what is it? Are you going to do research? They read the job description. They don't know. They don't understand where in the map this lies and if they can do it or not. You understand?
That's where we come in. We are bridging the gap, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. You've highlighted your journey.
Yeah.
You've now that you are inside, now that
Yeah.
you are a project specialist, you're starting to work.
Yeah.
What did you have in mind? Tell us more about your corporate journey and how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so once I was a project specialist, I'm like, okay, no, we just need to get promoted.
Yeah.
Let's just get promoted. Let's become seniors. Like,
right.
Because I think I was still a bit, I didn't have direction because I was still learning. So let's say for like a solid 2 years, I wasn't quite sure where is this leading you? How? Why? I wasn't. And I was a project specialist for about 3 years, 8 months, close to 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the more I worked as a project specialist, the more exposed I was to the industry as a whole. And the more aligned to say, okay, this is where I sort of want to be.
Yeah.
But I was very confused as a project specialist because I'm like, okay, maybe I should divulge in data management. Like, I've got that personality to say that I can try anything, and I will try it with my whole heart. And I'm like, okay, maybe let me try being in data management because I think I did apply for a few clinical data
manager, coordinator,
managers, in data, a few of it. And I'm like, no, I sort of understand what you're doing, but I think I want to do it for myself.
Right.
Why not? Like, I'm not a tree, I can move. Like, if I'm there for a year and I'm like, okay, this is not for me, it's fine.
We can always leave it.
We keep it moving.
Exactly.
So I felt that way, and I was very confused.
Yeah.
And then grace led me into a different position.
Wow.
From being a project specialist, then I became a remote site monitor at PPD. So I started at PPD before the acquisition of Thermo Fisher acquiring PPD. So remote site monitor, that is what I was. I'm like, okay, this is interesting, and I'm now dealing with a different perspective of working in clinical trials.
From what you're used to.
From what I used to. In the project specialist, I saw the clinical trial as a whole.
Right.
And the different functions. But as a remote site monitor, I am the function. I'm sort of isolated and like sort of working in a silo with other remote site monitors, sort of doing the same thing, So at least I got to, I think that experience for me, I think that's what put me in the position that I currently am.
Wow.
As a senior centralized monitoring lead. Because as a remote site monitor, I worked with sites. So I was sort of like, that is what actually happened. The remote site monitoring title was later dropped to Assistant CRA, Clinical Research Associate, because people were leaving to go to be a CRA, but not understanding that this is actually, you are a CRA. And that's also the confusing part, is that different CROs for the same function can have different titles.
Right.
So what you think is a clinical research associate in one place might not be named the same in another place. So then there was a change in titles to say, no, but you guys are CRAs. You are. So now let's just get you like on-site experience, That is like the development that was going to happen. So already I knew how to do site management, dealing with sites, calling them, talking to them, emailing them, helping resolve issues. You'll have a CRA that will be on site, and I'll be the remote CRA facilitating from the office, assisting to do it. And the same as if they had like remote monitoring visits, I would attend the remote monitoring visits. If they had on-site, I would support remotely. So I worked as a CRA, assistant CRA, because the levels come with your experience. So I was assistant CRA because I didn't have any on-site experience. And then from assistant CRA, you get CRA 1. So the moment where I would have had on-site, I would have moved to CRA 1. But that time didn't come.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't.
Right?
It did not come.
Yeah.
To be having on-site experience.
Yeah.
And then somehow there was a LinkedIn post that just flew by. You know how they are. It gets posted now. You see that 500 applicants, 500 people have applied.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what is going on? Like, why is there so many people? Why is there so many people? Did they honestly apply, or is just LinkedIn messing with our minds? You know? You never know these things. Like, are they messing with our minds?
I know.
So then I applied for a centralized monitoring lead at Equivia.
Yeah.
So I was the ACRA for like a year and a half. Then I moved. I got the centralized monitoring lead. You know, even with the intimidating circumstances with going to the CML post, I was the only one hired at the time.
Oh, wow.
And then I think for the next 6 months, I was the only new hire as a CML.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. And for me, what stood out in the CML post is the ability for me to take my project specialist experience,
knowledge and experience,
my knowledge, to take my remote site monitor assistant CRA experience and put it into one job.
Wow.
So that for me, it stood out. Like, okay, no, I can. I did this project management. I did this site management. That's project management and site management. Like, okay, no, this is the girl she thinks she is. You know, this is the one. This is definitely the one. So then I got the CML post. Started being a CML.
Wow.
Very overwhelming because it's new.
Yes.
It's you just like thrown in the deep end in the sense that you've got experience. At this point, I'm not entry level. You know,
the experience is
I've got experience, so I need to navigate my way and stand firm in the deep end that is being thrown. Like, if you get thrown in the deep end, you need to stand firm, and you need to lean on your experiences. You need to lean on your knowledge and trust yourself. So that is what the CML post for me was, and the job. And it's very enticing because it's like, oh no, it's project management, I've done this. Oh no, it's site management, I've done this. And because as a CML you support your CRAs, I can understand the challenges because I was once there. You know, I can comprehend and think about like, okay, this CRA, we're not getting results in closing EDC queries with the site. Is there a problem? Maybe there's a site relationship problem with it. You know, I can understand and speak to the CRA to say, what is actually the problem? How about you challenge it from a different perspective? You know, how are you managing your site? How is the relationship? So it helped me, and also to engage with my team because I could think about what we're doing from a different perspective, not just a CML position, but putting myself in a CRA's shoes, you know?
Oh, wow.
So,
So, in your 5 years or so being in the industry, you've already progressed so far, right?
Yeah, a lot of changing roles.
A lot of changing roles. So, we're still standing on the fact that there are opportunities in this industry.
Great.
Like, there is a lot of growth, right? And all these BSc students must just be willing to go extra mile to get into this. Like, you just mentioned that you saw a post on LinkedIn and there were like 500 applicants. And
it wasn't not 500, but it was a lot. And I'm like, oh, like, how true is that? Like, how true is this? Like, this post was posted like 2 hours ago, but already there's so many people that have applied for it. Is it true? Is it accurate?
And also, one of the things I'm getting from you, for this industry, you need a lot of confidence.
You need a lot of confidence. You need a lot of resilience, because you'll get tested along the way. You'll get let down along the way. Like, maybe you don't progress in the way you thought you are. If you had set expectations that every year I need to progress, you might get disappointed. You know, so you need to also have room for disappointment in the space, because as much as you are academically smart, you might struggle to adapt to what is corporate. How it's about, and how people relate to each other in corporate, you know. So that's also a big transition, a big gap from having to I've worked at the university to two universities here at the CUT and at UFS. I've worked on both. Very different atmospheres for both universities, the Technicon and your UFS. But my employment was not, it was formal, but the environment was different to what it is in clinical research. Very different, you know? Working in the lab, I was employed in the lab at the university, but the environment is different. The atmosphere is different, you know? Requirements is different, expectations. You have goals to meet. You've got deadlines that have serious repercussions. You are working and your work affects somebody else's work. If your work is not done in a certain way, it affects somebody else's work.
True, hey?
You know? So, and also like accountability levels are different. Because here you might be given freeway. You know, we are working from home, you know, but how accountable, we've got the flexibility. How accountable are you for yourself?
Exactly.
How accountable are you for yourself? You know? So it's quite challenging as well. But for me, because I am that, I can adapt. I think for me, it's one of my strengths in my personality and who I am, and you know, in quote in my DNA, that I can adapt. I found it easier. Some people won't find it easy. That's where mentors come in, you know, because ever since I started in the journey, I always speak about the industry. Because when I started working, I was still a student doing my master's. Whenever I went and met the other students, I said, guys, there is this. You know what they do? You know what? I'm a project specialist. This is what I do. But you have clinical data, whatever. This is what you do. Guys, if you're looking for a job, these are the posts that if you see them, you guys can apply for them. You guys qualify for them. You know, you will do great. You can do it. Go for it. So I've always been talking about because I've been passionate about students. It's just that my redirection and having to go get a job took me away from working with students.
Exactly.
So for me, paving it forward was to speak to the other students that were also studying. Because I was like, I felt at a disadvantage because I never knew this industry. So it means they also don't know it. And I was just that bridge to say, hey, Equivia this, Parexel this. You know? There's also another one called this. You know? Don't be afraid to test the waters. Go. You know, go. Because if you don't want to work in a lab, go. This is where you'd want to be. But you get people that want to work in a lab. They want to work on research. And I know a lot of them. And I'm like, no, it's fine. That's what they want to do. They want to run a lab. They want to... It's okay. That is their passion. That's fine. I also had passion for a lab, but I got redirected. But the passion is not that my heart is aching for me to go back. If it ever happens that I go back, it's fine. I'll be passionate about it as well. We move.
It's part of life.
You know, it's part of life.
And I like the fact that you mentioned being redirected in life. You know, and tomorrow
for me, it's never rejected. It's redirected because rejected seems to say that you are not for this. No. You are for something great. You are just redirected to where you need to be. This was not it. This was not it. Not that you don't deserve, you are incapable, you can't do it. No. It's because this was not it for you.
And seasons change.
Yes.
Exactly. Wow. So now that you are a centralized monitoring lead, take us your day. You know, we want to know your day, your work-life day. What happens?
Okay. So centralized monitoring leads, you can wake up one day and have 200 emails. Why? I don't know. 200, 300, like that's just like my normal day. You know, a lot of emails because you are in many pots. You need to be CC'd. You need to be informed. Some of them are directed to you. You know, so I wake up in the morning, log in, check my emails, check to see how my day looks, meetings and things like that. Prepare for them if needs be. Then on a daily basis, I'm contacting CRAs. If we have systems that sites use to enter the data that they with the patients that they have at site. So we need to make sure that if there was a patient visit today, we get notification that a patient visit is for today. And if the protocol says that data entry needs to be within 5 days, I need to make sure that the CRA is aware that the data entry has not been made, to say, hey, please talk to your site, this and that. In some instances, because clinical trials are so diverse, the running of them, the functioning of them, and even as a CML, it's different. Yeah. You can have different responsibilities in a specific clinical trial being a CML, and different as well in another trial still being a CML.
Yeah, that is so true.
So CMLs are not really site-facing.
Yeah.
Because the CRAs are the ones in between the sites, right? But in some protocols, CMLs will be site-facing in the sense that we have like EDC. There's queries that data management people query about the information that is entered. Sometimes the querying, we send it to the site to say, please resolve this. Yeah. It's been 5 months, it's still not resolved. Yeah. Then you take the phone, you call the site, you want to understand what is it that is the problem. Yeah. Do they understand the query? So you need to have a conversation with data management. Yeah. They need to explain that query to you. What exactly is required, and explain it to you. Yeah. You turn around, you talk to the site, because sometimes you will be the site-facing person for a little while, not for a lot, but just for small things. You explain to the site, you sit through a call with the site to get something resolved. Because in clinical trials, metrics are very important. Yeah. Your matrix will sort of correlate to the quality of your clinical trial. So if matrix are saying that you've got so many overdue queries, like what is happening? Why is it just shows that people are not working? Yeah. They're not closing queries, they're not attending to it. Yeah. So that is also like, you question the integrity of the study. The study, yeah. Because now you've got clients, sponsors that say that, why do we have so many overdue open queries? Why are they not being closed? So now you need to account to that, because sometimes in one study I'm not sponsor facing. Yeah, yeah. In another study I am sponsor facing. Exactly. I sit in the sponsor calls, and if my clinical lead is not there, I take accountability for the screening, the randomization, the giving of current statuses of patient numbers, of the screening, randomization, monitoring visits, things like that, giving them updates, like if maybe we are in startup, giving them updates about where the contract finalization is, how far it is before we can be able to activate a site for them to start screening patients, things like that. So you can hear how diverse it is. Like it's so diverse and has so many responsibilities. Yeah. And it's just a pity that you will never get a study that will encompass all the responsibilities. Yeah. Because studies are designed very differently. And and teammates also play an important role. Yes. Because you might get a CL that's like basically the one higher than the CML. Yes. You're second, you've got your manager, then you've got your clinical lead. Yes. So you get very hands-on clinical leads that know everything. And now it makes it easier for you, because you don't have to do a lot. You don't you sort of oversee things. Send an email, you don't have to do a lot. But then you get instances where the CL is not very hands-on. Yeah. And now you have to do a lot. Exactly. You do a lot, even though it's some things, yes, they are your responsibility as a CML. Yeah. But the CL is so hands-on that they do everything. Yeah. So some responsibilities are waived from you. Yeah. You don't do it. So wow. So now that there's like a lot of responsibilities that you do from day to day in your role, what are those tools and technologies that are very essential in a role? Because so for somebody would be saying, for me, if I'm into data management, the database is very important for me. So what are those tools for you as a centralized monitoring lead? If you remember when you were in high school, right? Yeah. You'd have a little one-page CV. Yes. And then they'd ask you about the your skills, and you'd say Microsoft Office.
Yes.
You don't know Microsoft Office.
My God.
You didn't know nothing.
Tell me about it.
Because as a CML, you didn't know anything.
Lord.
As a CML, the amount of spreadsheets you work with, right? You need to know formulas. You need to know Excel. You need to know how to innovatively give out information. You work with dashboards. Some of them is they're user friendly. You can just export, and then the data is presented in a way that is easy to understand.
Yeah.
The most important is always relaying the message in an easy to understand way. So you need to process this data that you're giving out to people.
Yeah.
You know, I knew Excel.
You thought you knew Excel.
I thought I knew Excel. Then I got to be a CML.
Yeah.
I'll have 10 Excel sheets open. And if you are not willing to learn how certain formulas work, you will be on your computer the whole day because you're doing things manually. You're going to line by line, you know? So you need to equip yourself with that. And I think also in the clinical research space, we work with a lot of Excel sheets. And it's important for you to know how to maneuver around it, to know your formulas, to know what each one does, and how you can better streamline what you're doing. You know, instead of having to go one by one, line by line, you know, you need to be able to say, or looking at two sheets. Instead of like going, okay, you open this one, line 37, okay, no, it's this. No, you need to use VLOOKUP. Is it VLOOKUP? Is it XLOOKUP? You know, you need to know the difference. It helps. It helps because instead of spending 1 hour on a task, I can spend 20 minutes on the same task.
Wow.
You understand?
Yes, exactly.
So that's at the capacity you need to be functioning with your spreadsheets, you know, with dashboards, the dashboards that you need to do. But a lot of that with dashboards and company systems, you'll get trained. There'll be training for it. You'll be able to navigate around it. And things like, I think we use CTMS a lot. And the thing is as well, different companies use different systems, differently named systems for the same function. You know, you've got TMF. One uses this, another uses this. But the function is that it is a document repository, an electronic document repository. So, and if you're moving from one company to another company, you might think, no, I know how to use CTMS.
Well,
you get to the other company and they're not using CTMS, they're using Impact Harmony. It's like, what is this? But the principle is the same.
Exactly.
It's the same. So we use a lot of dashboards that's there because they pick up the matrix of the sites. You can see the matrix of your CRAs, of yourself as well, compliance as well. A lot of dashboards it's available. You know, CTMS. Trackers. Some of them are manual because maybe the system has not been integrated in that way. And also depending on what sponsor you're working with. Because some sponsors, they get their systems integrated with the pharmaceutical company, with the clinical research organization. They get their system integrated. So when an update is done by us here, in a day or two, the sponsor will, the system will be updated, you know? So sometimes it's not that way. The sponsor doesn't have the system integrated. Now you're doing manual updates to give to the sponsor the feedback, you know? So you're using a lot of Excel, you presenting your information. So you need to be able to present it in a way that it is user friendly and it is aesthetically pleasing. Like you look at it and people can understand. It's not a mess. It's not all over the place. It is easy to read. User friendly. It's not overwhelming. You know.
Sure. Wow, we're almost at the end. But this is so amazing. Like, I think it's giving a lot of information to our upcoming, like I said, clinical researchers so that they know things to expect. You know, it's so funny that people thinking a job is just a job, but in this industry,
it's not.
You really have to know your place. Like, you really have to know what you're there for. You know, otherwise you're gonna find yourself everywhere. You know, you're gonna find yourself. There are a whole lot of. You don't want to come as somebody who doesn't do their job, like you said. That there are those people. You know, they're just there.
Yes.
and you always have to pick after them, you know, and that's not nice.
Yes.
But in this industry, like for you to get where you want, for you to get your promotions, for you to get, you have to literally be self-accountable, you know. Yeah, wow. It's been amazing. So my closing question is, what advice would you give to those that are aspiring to become centralized monitors in the clinical industry?
For me, the advice, and this is based on a real life story, right? Practically. There was this young lady who also studied chemistry, did her honors, then looked for a job.
Yeah.
So she was in the LinkedIn. I mean, that's our platform.
You know,
that's our place. Like we live. That's where we play.
Yeah.
And then you get to see like people, or like occupancy, or like background people. Talk to them.
Wow.
To say, okay, so you did a BSc in chemistry, you did your honors, like, okay, how's that going for you? How's that working out for you? You know? So this lady also did, like, I got an inbox, and then I saw, oh, she was doing an honors in chemistry at UFS. Like, who is she? Like, okay, hi. And then we started to talk, and I'm like, well, you're looking for a job. Okay, no, it's fine, great. You're looking for a job. What do you need help with? Like, what I can help you with, because also time capacity. If you see a job that you are interested in, or you don't know what it entails, send it to me. I will help you break it down to say what it is. You know, put yourself together with people that have done it before, or are still doing it, because you don't know what kind of information that they have. Exactly. And by me helping her, explaining to her the different jobs in the different CROs, to say that this CTA is equivalent to a CTC in some way, you know, looking at the job description, I can read it, I can understand it, and I can relay it in a term that somebody who's never worked in the industry can understand. The terms, she did get a job. Yes. She's very happy. Wow. And she's been working very hard. Wow. It's pretty amazing what she's achieved in a very short space of time. She has achieved more than me while you were still doing that. While I was still doing that. You know, in a short space of time. Because of, I told her, when you get there, do this. Nina. When you get there, hold yourself accountable. Do to-do lists. Get the work done. She has done great. Wow. Because of information that was presented. Mentorship, you know, even though it was not a formal mentorship. It was not formal, but you mentored her into the industry. Yes. Exactly. And even today, we still speak, you know, we still speak, and then we still, you know, advise her to say, where do you want to be? You know? So if you want to be in project leadership, you can't now decide to go into data. You're sort of deterring yourself. Yes, exactly. So maybe look into this, you know, advising. So for me, for people that are upcoming that don't know, use the platforms that you have to align yourself with people that are there, or are sort of, or have an idea. Because I can guarantee you that your lecturers that are sitting there lecturing you for an hour, they don't know. They don't. Most of them don't know. They don't. I've had my professors that were my supervisors, master's, PhD, refer some students to me. Wow. Because they just finished their honors, they don't have funding for their masters. Speak to Nina. Maybe she can help you get a job some way. I don't know where. Because their hands are only at a certain capacity. And in the space which they occupy, there is nothing. You know, there is nothing that they can offer. There's nothing that they can help with. So you need to look somewhere else. Where can you look? I don't know where you can look, but like, speak to her. Let me help you. Let me put you with somebody that can help you and advise you. So it's just information.
Oh, guys, this has been so informative, and we've said a mouthful. We did, right? We did. And we have reached the end of our today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. We want to hear more from you, and we are looking forward to the next episode. Thank you. Oh, girl.